All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for a podcast number 58. This is the Twitch VOD, so check it out and enjoy.
All right,
Hey guys.
everybody.
Podcast 58.
Hello.
Podcast 58 indeed. Good to see you all.
Even though we can't actually see you.
Yes. But I see you in chat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I see you.
I see you.
Actually, that's a good question. When you think of the phrase I see you, do you think of Avatar or do you think of Lord of the Rings? Yeah.
Blue People Avatar, right?
Blue People Avatar, of course, yeah.
I really like Neytiri's, I see you. Because it's a form of, like, I perceive you and I understand you.
Right.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And there's an invitation within that, in that I see you, would you like to see me? And I like that.
Sure.
I like that there's something, I don't know, transcendent about that.
Oh, wait.
Very, very beautiful and stuff.
The title might need to be changed.
Oh no! Oh no! Whatever.
How are you all doing?
Oh. And we've got
a few things here.
shows.
Is Avatar a good movie or is it mediocre and overrated? It does certain things very well, but did it deserve the $2.8 billion that it got?
Absolutely.
Yes, but that cannot be used as a measuring stick of
Yes.
that means it's 2.8 times better than The Dark Knight or something like that.
Right.
So, like, yeah.
Great point, Jacob. Yeah, great point.
But yeah, the fact that, like, it looked so good, and that was back in 2009, like, think about, like, that. Like, if we were to put that in anime standards, like, to think Avatar came out in the same year as, K-On! Or something, right? It's like, oh, wow. That's pretty ridiculous.
Okay. Now it should be fine.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for just going back to
There we
the
go.
original
Change the
cheesy
title. There we
stories,
go.
Yeah. Like just not doing something super crazy. Like, you don't necessarily have to, like, because as was shown with that movie.
Yeah, good artists create and great artists, what is it?
Good artists copy, great artists steal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so the name existed before we even evolved it. Like,
Yeah.
is it copy or is it steal?
Maybe that was the thought process behind it. It's like, okay, copy makes more sense, but good artists copy, great artists steal. So
But
therefore,
Jacob, if the artist steals,
Carlos
that
steals.
removes any potential for the original work that was stolen to
Right.
even exist.
which is why the statement
Right?
doesn't really work, because it actually is supposed to be copy, but it's more of the idea of shamelessly copying and not trying to adapt, but rather just use exactly what they did. But yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to try and hone in on things a little bit more so than we did last time. There's a couple subjects that we're going to be bringing up here today that I would say Jacob and I have some good crossover, in terms of focus with. But we had a lot of follows that we missed in the hiatus land of when our Twitch was off, so let's shout out Insane Hollow, Espion Swag, Gary Randhawa 3, and more recently, Thick Slayer 2201 and Deutsch have all followed. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Glad to have you here.
Well,
We're in sync like that.
oh, yeah, well, yeah, that too.
We also have to give a shout out to one of our VIP patrons that recently joined, Bayback. Thank you so much for the support.
Yep,
Glad to have you here.
The VIP call.
And yes, that was really awesome getting to meet you on the VIP call. That was really cool. Any VIPs in chat? Shout out. I think we have Ryan H. I saw earlier. Yep. There's Ryan. Awesome. It's Steel. Hi from Pakistan. Still Hearthstone.
Hey, Tanya the Rider.
Yeah, it shouldn't be Hearthstone anymore. It has been updated. You just might need to refresh it a little bit. Avatar might have been impressive, and I'm going to let you finish, but Ghost in the Shell had the best animation for its time of all time. There you go. Goose Cannons, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the SOS Brigade.
Yes.
Chilling an early Monday night, Jacob.
Chilling in wait.
I don't get that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Want slow mode on for the podcast? Larry, I think that y'all can just decide if it becomes necessary to go for it, but I leave that up to all y'all mods' discretion. I actually started A Place Further in the Universe on your recommendation last stream.
Hey!
Finished episode 6 yesterday. It's really fun and feels inducing.
That show is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like,
Place Further in the Universe is something else.
and it's
really
funny
good.
because like okay, we don't know that much about the whole like style of cute girls doing cute things as like a show.
You're starting to get into
I'm
it.
starting to, but
Yeah.
you know, because A Place Further in the Universe, right? It's amazing. You know, want to know the history of all of that, but it really is one of those things where I'm seeing how it, at the same time, didn't do many things different from the cute girls doing cute things type of show, and at the same time, it totally did. Because when it basically came to the points that really mattered, the execution and those high impact moments that just make you want to bawl, and that character depth,
Yeah.
they nailed it so much. And Madhouse,
Totally.
thank you.
Madhouse Original. This is how you do it. You have to say Madhouse
Original.
Studio Original. Gabriel has just followed. Welcome to the SOS Brigade. Glad to have you here. Would you guys be interested in playing the new MHA game? Yeah, we'll see.
We don't play that many games, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of people in here and stuff. What's a show that came out really recently that I got to introduce you to that really has been rocking your world recently?
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to take a break from anime talk for a quick brief bit, because we have a couple things to talk about here.
But, so Daredevil is an amazing show. And the fact that I'm able to say that about a live action show is pretty impressive.
Success!
Hear my words. Heed them. But even this show, with its hour-long episodes, is incredible. And like the first season was amazing, right? The first season was incredible.
Yep.
The second season was
not as
good. Not as good, you know? But Caleb,
I got him into watching.
He got me to watch
season.
it. I was kind of like, oh yeah, Daredevil season 3, like that might be fun to watch at some point.
But who cares, really?
Right, but he
things.
basically got me into it with this phrase. He's like, "Return to form, Jacob."
Yep.
And I was like, I'm listening. You know, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Yes,
and it really is.
Yeah, I have some brief moments to just kind of gush about this show. So I'm rewatching it with Jacob. I watched it all like that.
Yeah.
And thank you Netflix for that. But
Binging.
there's something that the show did that's really taking advantage of its format. And now this is something that I kind of want to talk about and compare and contrast with anime. Anime, sometimes you realize what a beautiful medium it is because it takes advantage of its format and also its presentation to do things that you couldn't do in anything but anime.
Sure.
There's a lot of instances of this, and I don't need to mention them all. But in live action, sometimes you forget, I think, what specific things that your format enables you to do that you can't really do in animation. And one of them is really lingering on quiet moments and analyzing someone's facial expressions and body language.
And you can do that in anime, but
you
it's
can,
harder.
but it's harder. It's way harder. It's something that in anime we have to linger on the slightest little twitch because that's sometimes all we're gonna get.
Right.
In live action, you get a whole myriad of expressions that communicate so much. And Daredevil Season 3 has this really unique thing that it does that is not new, but it's a kind of a fun twist on how I would actually say one of the most cringy things generally in storytelling, that is exposition. So for any of you that have, I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free for you because Jacob has not finished Daredevil Season 3 yet. He's halfway through. And it's getting really good. But there's this thing that they've been doing, and they do it a lot in this season of Daredevil, and that is they basically take advantage of we're going to have the internal world of a character's mind be used to exposit to the audience what they're feeling in a combination of show and tell. So there's something that you'll see a lot in any medium of storytelling. A person will be thinking, but instead of having them monologue their own thoughts, they use basically an avatar of their thoughts as a visual medium to show where their mind is focused at. And in Daredevil, there's a part where Matt Murdock, the main character, consistently has a voice in his head, basically revealing his own thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's through the voice of the antagonist in this story.
Right.
I'm not going to give too many details or stuff, but the thing is that it's used to great effect, and it's something that's not new. It's done in a lot of other stories, but they continue this format of having the characters react with their body language to their own self-thoughts,
right,
projected through the voice and acting and body language of another actor entirely. So you get this character dynamic interaction that's almost like a dialogue, but you realize it's actually a monologue of exposition.
Right.
It's brilliant because it evades the whole problem of the character just kind of saying, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm
because no one does that.
with.
Even in their own head, they
exactly.
don't do that.
But sometimes stories need to do that, and in some ways, actually, anime really struggles with this.
But they do. There are some very notable moments where
Totally.
that has been done in anime, and it is amazing.
Yes.
But it is a lot harder to do because you basically need to have someone who's excellent at writing the actual dialogue because it's written as a dialogue, but it's really more of exposition in the second person, right?
But it also takes a lot of time.
But it also takes a lot of time. Yeah,
yes.
that's true.
And anime sometimes has trouble pacing out the time that's needed in order to give that dialogue that's not really happening space to just be itself.
Right, to unfold. I'm really glad you brought that up because my favorite example of when anime has done that is with the case of the Disappearance movie. There's a very iconic scene where there's basically an internal monologue, but it's in a monologue directed at the person who is doing the thinking, you know?
Right.
And that's and by doing that in such a way, by phrasing that in the second person speech, it's able to talk to the character and talk to the audience at the exact same time with no disconnect.
Right.
It's very powerful. But this happened in the Disappearance movie, right? One, it's a movie, and it's a fairly long movie.
And that's why they're allowed to do that.
And that's why they're able to do that and have it actually work. Whereas with something like, say, Daredevil, well, when you have episodes that are an hour long... you can have moments where characters will just tell a story.
Talk to themselves,
talk to themselves. You know, do all these things. Like, can an hour-long episode be thrown away on basically just tracking camera shots that go nowhere? Absolutely. But, well, Daredevil, for one, does not do that. And
so I'm going to gush about this show, probably in social media or just to people in general. So if you hear me talking about it, that's because the third season really nailed something. And there's actually a couple things that Jacob hasn't seen yet in their approach to...
I can imagine.
In-depth character exposition / backstory / context stuff. And it's because of the formatting of the show that it's able to do that. The thing is, with anime that wants to keep a fast pace, generally what I would say a superhero action show, like My Hero Academia, you could even take certain aspects of Hunter x Hunter, even though Hunter x Hunter is less a superhero show and more of a sprawling epic. But right now where we're at in Hunter x Hunter, you have...
it's gone into the superhero
action
stuff territory, because they've developed the characters and the abilities and all that stuff.
Very intense drama, I would say, when it comes to the characters and stuff. Right. But still, something that would be tricky to do in one episode at least, or without. You would have to take it. I would say you would take it out of the personal side of things and make it be from a kind of a third-person perspective, just kind of looking in. We have to kind of fill in the blanks as to what they're thinking and feeling. Dobby1235, thank you so much for the follow. Yes. Glad to have you here. So, yeah, I would say that this is something that, you know, it still fits with our channel and stuff because it's it taught me a lot just by
yeah.
watching it about how you can handle exposition in a personal way. And generally, exposition is the least personal part of storytelling.
And that's why when it can be done in a way that's compelling, so that you would happily listen to just exposition, strangely enough, as long as they like communicated it in this high level, like high caliber quality. That's something special. And I it's weird because there's this part of me that's like, but it's live action.
It's not anime.
Like, it's not anime.
Action,
But then at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah, but it is really good. Okay, fine. I'll go back to the mainstream TV for this one time.
Yeah, and sorry guys that we didn't do reactions to it. We probably have like no real like drive to specifically do like every show with reactions and stuff. Also specifically because some of these shows are in their second or third season,
right?
And
exactly.
And it'd be like, okay, we'll just start at
season 3, and then
something.
of course then there'd be the whole thing of take that hour episode down to 10 minutes and all that stuff, and there's a certain fun to knowing just like, hey, there's this show. All right, let's just watch it. Let's just watch it.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at with live action, at least for me, is that...
and we don't watch live action that much.
We don't watch live action that much. So if we are, it's going to be something like this, where we'll just binge it and then just go through it and stuff. Caleb, you changed Jacob's mind. Good. Nice. Yeah. Do you guys like watching live action movies or reading non-anime books? Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we do. I think the main thing is just that it doesn't occupy that much of our time.
Right.
When you compare it to the amount of anime that we're consuming, it's not even close.
Well, and especially with like non-anime books, like I love reading, right? I mean, I'm writing a book of my own, but it takes a lot of time, and because of that, like I have a ton of books that I want to read.
Right.
And it's kind of like the anime like to watch list, except it's like a list of just a bunch of books that I have, but I haven't read.
We have been recommended to watch Castlevania. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Jacob doesn't dislike live action. He dislikes live action television.
And I would generally say that there's just something so charming about things that can be done in anime, but yeah, especially live action television, because that's where the real disconnect usually happens. With live action movies, there's still a lot of great stuff out there. Just fantastic. But with live action shows, they kind of don't know what they're doing, it seems like, a lot of the time. Or they do know what they're doing, and they're making money, But they're not necessarily making great stories.
Right. ZarmGS just subscribed to Twitch Prime.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Appreciate that. Nightwalker F11 has just followed.
Awesome.
Welcome to the SOS Brigade. So... 43 muscles in the human face that contribute to subtle expression. It's basically so difficult to replicate in animation that animators have to find other ways of showing expression.
Right.
Yeah. There's ways they work around it and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a silent voice is a great
totally.
testament to that.
Yeah.
But even so. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that recently came up with Jacob, you went to a fun little event somewhere.
Yeah. So I went to an opera for the first time. Because
that's awesome.
That voice acting workshop that I went to, and Crispin Freeman apparently started an opera and everything. So he was like, "That's how I developed my voice." So I'm like, "Okay, well let's see how this goes." So I went to an opera, and funnily enough, I was wearing a Haikyuu t-shirt because my laundry was taking way longer to dry than it was supposed to. Like 3 runs through the dryer. It's ridiculous. But so I was wearing a Haikyuu t-shirt. I come running in just as the doors are about to close, because I'm on I was literally as far away from the entrance as possible, way at the top, very back, all that. But a bunch of people were in costume, and that was one of the things that I found kind of interesting. And it made sense once I saw it, because it's okay, opera, this is the even more extreme of theater, right? So yeah, it makes sense that there would be people that would be in costume. Okay, yeah, sure, and that it would be fairly normal here because theater. But when I thought about it, I'm like, but a lot of these costumes are fairly close to like what you would see at a convention. Like so one of the things that I was thinking is like, you could, like, as long as it wasn't like a over the top anime cosplay, you know, outfit, right? No Ryuko, but that might get you some interesting looks and maybe get you thrown out. But
there was no dress code because you came in with a Haikyuu t-shirt and they were like, yeah, you come right in.
As long as you have a shirt, they're fine, you know?
Right, so like, no Kamina cosplays.
Right, exactly. But just the idea that, like...
It's mainstream cosplay, guys.
It's mainstream cosplay, and opera is considered like generally when you think of opera, you think of like a posh theater for rich people.
We're so high and mighty and rich that we're so bored with life we'll go watch the opera
because we're cultured and stuff. Yeah,
yes,
pictures, but like it was the weirdest thing, and of course like the voices were like gorgeous and everything, and then it's like, okay, now I see how this could be like the ultimate like training thing to just, you know, get you to have that super awesome, sultry, amazing, sexy voice.
Right.
But that was just one of the weird things ever. The story was of course very strange. Like,
it's opera.
Well, it's opera. But like it wasn't strange like overly dramatic. It was strange in like
it didn't make sense.
It was ambiguous. And I'm all for that. I love stories that leave things up to audience interpretation.
Sure.
But it felt ambiguous and a bit incomplete. So it was one of those things where it's like they leave things up to your interpretation, but you're not exactly sure how much of it they were trying to leave up to interpretation.
And how much is just left out.
Yeah, or how much of it is just left out. Like, so it's like, okay.
Well, according to this here, it's like story doesn't matter in opera at all. Like, literally, it's not important.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if opera is mainstream. Okay, well, here's the thing.
It's like niche mainstream. Like,
yeah. It's mainstream doesn't mean that they're popular. Right. Mainstream just means that it's more socially acceptable.
Yeah.
It's more socially acceptable right now to go to the opera than it is to go cosplay at an anime convention.
Right.
I would say we're making huge strides every year with that, because you just go to McDonald's, next to, San Diego Comic-Con or something like that.
Because that's
and there will be
the thing.
Well, I know, but the idea is that people see that and they go, oh, the convention is in town.
Right.
They don't think I would like to go to the convention and do that necessarily, but they think, okay, this is a thing that people do.
Sure.
So, yeah. Hey, Freelancer Amber just followed.
Thank you.
Thank you for the follow.
But yeah, the music was amazing. But,
love seeing other Ruby YouTubers here. That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a funny aspect of thinking like, wait a minute, guys, they've been cosplaying all along, and that means it's okay. Like,
imagine for a second. Imagine for a second if a bunch of people all went to an opera dressed as like Karasuno team or like, class 1A or something. Like that is
that could be
a thing. Like, there was actually a point where who is it? It was someone that was in like it was this girl that was in like a nice like jacket or something, and I had to do a double take because I wasn't sure if she was wearing a cosplay like high school uniform jacket type thing. I was like, wait, no, that's no, never mind.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, wait, okay, is that person like just dressing nice, or is that like a Toradora cosplay? Like,
oh my gosh,
sure,
that's amazing.
But it was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah. If you want to know the next animes we'll react to and stuff, we'll be announcing that when they're voted on and stuff like that. But we recently had a poll with Kaiji.
Yep. Is that one over now?
Hajime no Ippo. No.
Okay.
One Out.
And Yuri on Ice.
Yep.
There's the replacement for Haikyuu.
That was the replacement for Haikyuu. And
yeah.
It's basically over. Hajime no Ippo is killing it in the actual poll itself. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But
who knows? There could be an upset.
Yes. But it was interesting. I was just talking about McDonald's earlier. You just slapped me, Jacob. I hit a low place recently, I went to McDonald's. I know. I know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, actually, the experience was fine. But, a little story for you guys. If you're on Twitter, you might have seen it. But I went to the McDonald's, and it was after a Frisbee game, which, by the way, I've got some cool Frisbee news to talk about. It would be pretty awesome.
Did your body, like, just absolutely reject the food that you tried to put
No. Shush. No. It's all good. It's a good experience.
Okay.
But the thing is when I went to the drive-thru, there were 2 cars in front of me, so I'm like, all right, cool. I pulled up, into the spot where they've got the little light thing to take your order and stuff. And the person was there, and they were like, hey, yeah. And I ordered my food and stuff. And I pulled up behind the 2 cars. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited for 35 minutes behind 2 cars. Yeah.
After you'd ordered your food.
After I'd ordered my food. Yep. Now, the thing is that I am relatively patient person. But, on around minute 25, I took to Twitter and I was like, so this is happening.
Wow.
And then I just went on Discord and I parked my car and just kind of doodled on my phone and stuff. But the thing was I didn't notice that all along the left side of the building were all these little signs being like, we're hiring. And tons of them, guys, tons of them. So what I deduced was, they're severely understaffed.
There's one person.
There's one or 2 people in there. And I know for a fact that there were 2. Okay. But there might have only been 2.
Wow. And
including whoever the cook was or something like that.
What time of day was this?
9 p.m. So not late at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not
not midnight or anything.
Right.
No.
But not dinner rush or anything.
No, exactly. Yeah. But I felt so bad. And I had my flashbacks to my retail and food service days. Yeah. Anyone in chat been there where you're all alone at the closing shift and it's just oh God, why? We're all alone. There's nobody here beside me.
And you're playing your massive, you're playing not Morden Solus, the Solarian's speech in Mass Effect 1 of the "We hold the line,"
Oh my God.
We held the line. We will still hold the line.
Oh my God. D-Buckets 9 has just followed. Welcome, glad to have you here. And Star Platinum always just subscribed to Twitch Prime. Glad to have you here. Welcome to the SOS Brigade. But yeah, I wanted to bring this up because I feel like this is a very wholesome PSA to bring up.
Oh.
I realized why I went to McDonald's afterwards. The game that I had gone to was a really stressful Ultimate Frisbee game, and it was pouring down rain.
Those are the best.
I wore a coat that repels water, and I still got soaked through to the everything, to the everything, people, the TMI everything. And
I see. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, and it was miserable. It was very miserable. And the team got really antsy and stressed out with each other and just kind of left the game feeling in kind of a funk and stuff. Well, me feeling in a funk, I'm like, I'm going to feel a little better. I'm going to go to McDonald's.
I thought that's misery loves company.
Well, yes, I know. But then I went home and I had a really, as the food, obviously, but I had a really bad dream. I just had a really bad kind of sequence of things. And I realized that this is something that I've always taken relatively seriously with myself, but I don't really talk about it too much with other people, and that is mental health. I really feel like, guys, this is something that we as a culture, as a society. I hate saying the word society, but we've gotten so much better at becoming aware of this, but we need to take those little steps. We need to take those little steps at treating ourselves right.
Not eating at McDonald's, basically.
The point is that just be aware that when you're in a place where you need McDonald's or you feel like you need McDonald's,
sure,
just being aware of why we do things like that. Jacob, shut up. We live in a society. Yes, but no, I'm trying to make a wholesome point here is that there are little things that we do that matter. And they can lead to bigger things and bigger things and bigger things, and suddenly you're in a funk and you're depressed and you can't find your way out of it. And I just wanted to say anyone who, you know, feels like trapped or in a place that's, you know, weird or anything like that, or in a darker spot, just like find that little thing that you can do, that little thing, and just repeat that, and, you know, take little steps here and there. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that up because it was something I realized in kind of a funny way, you know, with the whole McDonald's story,
Right.
but also just as someone who's, I would say, been through most of the struggles and come out the other side okay. I want to be someone that talks about it in almost a casual way, to let people know that it's okay to kind of bring up these kinds of things.
That it's normal to have.
It's
low
normal.
points. Yeah.
It's normal to struggle with your mental health, like constantly struggle. And I think that's something that's something I just wanted to say.
We
So-
don't condone McDonald's, but
Well, see, this is the thing that you guys don't fully understand, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit in the next podcast, but we could bring it up here. Like, Jacob and I are we're kind of rough with each other when it comes to health. So when one of us starts to kind of deviate off the path, the other one is like, hey.
well, or at least Caleb doesn't do that as much with me because
you're doing a good job.
well, no, it's more like because my daily life doesn't involve much activity a lot of the time, unless I'm like actively working out. Whereas with Caleb, you know, he's gotta be all like,
I got a
you know,
sports
pro. Team. He's got to be pro ultimate frisbee, right?
Ultimate Frisbee. By the way, I'm getting involved in a tournament arc for Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah. Now you have told me like nothing about that other than it is a tournament arc.
Well, yeah, I just said it to my team, and there's like 3 anime fans in my team, and my team is the best. And we had an 8-1 win-loss record this season, so we actually get into the tournament, which is you know, a big deal.
So you're going to nationals, basically.
We're on our way to nationals.
This is the preliminary.
This is the preliminaries,
For
guys.
regionals.
For regionals, and then we get to the state, and then we go to nationals. No, our league is never like never gonna make it to nationals. But the thing is this is something that it means a lot to me, because I love Ultimate Frisbee, but I would say I've developed an even greater appreciation for team-based sports because of watching Haikyuu. Like you guys realize, like Haikyuu is such a good show just for your mental spirit, for your mental health and soul and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it also is really good for getting you into, like, say, volleyball, for instance, but I'd say even more so just the idea of having a team, having a squad, having a group that you can do some kind of activity together and really in on together. And you've been doing something like that with writing and stuff.
Well, yeah, but on the whole like activity thing, there's a saying that physical activity is the best antidepressant in existence, and it's true. When you know, like even though it might suck, right? Especially if you haven't done it in a while, it just makes you all around feeling great. Like, so having something like that where it's the team of people that you can go to, especially for physical activity, I feel like makes it even better. But really for anything that brings you closer to your bliss, right?
Oh,
for you,
yes.
it's Ultimate Frisbee, right? So because it's not just a thing of holding you accountable, but basically helping you to revel in that thing that makes you come alive.
Ooh, revel, yes.
Revelry in the dark.
Revelry in the dark.
Yeah. Whether it's darkness or, you know, something else. Because
or being a golden retriever and just chasing plastic.
Right, exactly. You know, or in my case, writing. Because it really is something that the positive effects of cannot be overstated, I feel.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you forget about it because you'll be in a funk, right? When you're not there, you'll a lot of times you will be in a funk and you won't want to go or you won't want to do the thing or whatever.
Totally.
But just surround yourself with those people so that way when you're in a funk, maybe they're not in a funk and their positive energy will rub off on you, and the same, you know, vice versa for when they're feeling low. So
in the same way of chasing your bliss, chase the people that excite you about your bliss. Like
exactly,
they in some ways it does kind of lead to you kind of just finding more people that are similar to you. But I would say in a simpler terms, it leads to people that you're going to end up naturally spending more time with because you just end up in a lot of the same places because your passions are in alignment, basically. And I would say that that's something that's tough. It's not easy to find a crew, you know. Like, I would say I haven't even found really my true crew yet, but I found a lot of other like good crews out there, and they're really helpful. And I'd say that's something that's, you know, just as much as physical activity is the greatest antidepressant. I think that human connection is tied with it for the, you know, the other greatest antidepressant. So having that is awesome. Saying this as a true, you know, introvert, you know, even though I'm probably less introverted than you, but
yes,
for sure. But like that's something that, you know, just can't be denied and stuff.
Yeah.
Will you make your children join team sports like volleyball? No. I won't make my children do anything, probably.
Oh, by the way, though, so on the whole subject of the team aspect and the group aspect, I did something that I haven't done in a while, and I feel ashamed to say this because I should have been doing this for a long time now, but I haven't really. And that's I went to an actual like writing group, which was interesting because I mean, I heard about it from my cousin-in-law who is also, you know, wanting to do writing stuff, and I ended up going there. He wasn't able to go because, you know, sponsorabilities and stuff.
Wait, we have sponsors? What?
But it was really funny because it felt like, oh yeah, this is good. Like, I need to do this a lot more. But at the same time, like, there were 2 people there other than me, and they were both, I would say the average age was
42.
Almost, it was like 60 when, like, before I showed up, and then once I showed up, you know, it dropped down to 40.
Oh my gosh.
So
Jacob and a bunch of grandmas, basically. That's awesome. But can you imagine it? Jacob is like Gendo Ikari, and there's like grandmas flanking him, and they're just like, now, before we write our novel that will take over the world, we must decide what it shall be called. And Jacob's like, we must draw battle lines.
But the funny thing is that it was the idea of like, oh yeah, that's right, people that basically drive you to not just be better and look over your stuff, because having a group that will like help you like just go over your work and like critique it for you and stuff, that is also incredible, right? And that's what you would want even more than just people that you like, a place that you go to help you write, but just having something where you're having people that are keeping you accountable on doing basically the same thing. Like, the people that were there weren't actually working on writing a novel. One was like working on like poetry,
sure,
and then the other one was working on like a sort of just a short story that they didn't even really know what they wanted it to be, and I don't think they wanted it to be published, but they were just sort of like doing it as a hobby, like sort of discovering. But they have
the similar energy with you in that you can bounce off of that with them,
exactly,
in, you know, your own facet of application of that energy.
Yeah, because like I could talk to them about certain like story related things that I couldn't talk to other people about because, you know, just not knowing the struggles of being a writer.
The struggles, man, you don't understand. He's grinded hours.
Yeah.
He's grinded hundreds of thousands of words.
I mean, yeah. But yeah. I actually the book is Battle Lines is clocked in right now to right around 120,000 words. So I should be able to send that to the formatter soon, which will be very cool.
Which means he's done that probably 4 times in terms of the drafts and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Well, this was draft 5, and they didn't always require full rewrites,
you know, right? But most of them did.
Yeah,
like, I think the first 3 did.
Yeah, and even then, like, if I did a draft, that doesn't mean I didn't write it multiple times for that draft. It's like being like, okay, is this the right way to write it? So, but anyways, but it was really cool because I told them about how I was writing a book and that I was getting close to being published. You know, I showed them the cover art and stuff like that, and it was weird because they ended up getting very inspired by it, and they were and motivated and all that stuff, and you know, they were super encouraging, like only grandmas can be, right?
So I was right. There were no guys really in this group.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, it was just two old ladies. It was just 2 old ladies. Because let's face it, like there aren't a lot of guys out there, just period, that write like there aren't.
It's kind of weird, actually. But
yeah,
but yeah.
But it was really cool, and it was one
Pick
of
it
those
up, guys.
It was one of those things where, because, I mean, I've had a ton of highs and lows with writing battle lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just writing in general, you know, all across it. And that's normal. And and if this is any encouragement to any of you out there, whether it's writing or something else, you know, like you were talking about. With just mental health, but with things that you're doing, whenever you're pouring your heart into something and it's a passion of yours, highs and lows are normal.
Yeah.
And you never know. You know, keep going, keep moving forward. Your drill will pierce the heavens. Don't lose your way, because you never know when your past pain will end up inspiring someone else, right? And it was something where I wouldn't have expected it to, right? Because like the two of them combined were 100 years, had 100 years more than I did. Like, you know.
It's so funny to say out loud. But,
yeah. But, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I never would have expected to have happen, which, you know, then feels weird because it's like, okay, we have a channel, so, you know.
Yeah.
But
does it get you thinking about how you would desire to maybe start your own kind of writers group and maybe focus on that a little
starting
bit?
my own writers group, and also the things I would have wanted to say to myself, you know, in like if I could like speak into my past or whatever, right? The things that I would want to say to myself, and okay, butterfly effect. Maybe I wouldn't actually want to like, you know, like send words back in time. Who knows how that could, you know, cause things to happen. But it was, yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, just going to shout out Sagacious Lass has just subscribed with a tier 1 Twitch sub. Thank you so much. Glad to have you here. Welcome to the SOS Brigade.
Should we check some questions to see if there's some stuff in there?
Some questions we might have missed.
Yeah, because I get the feeling there might be a few.
You're going to be like, what's his name's father? Be so wholesome about the sport. You love rubs off on your kids. I gotcha. Possibly. Here's a question for you both. How would you write a character with no clear motivation or goal? Can this be done right? If yes, then how?
Anything can be done in storytelling.
Yeah, anything can be done. I like that you said no clear motivation or goal. The thing is that I think every character in almost every story starts off for X number of pages not having a clear motivation or goal. Right. It's just a question of how long can you go without that.
And the other thing is, one of the issues usually without having a clear motivation or goal is that then there's no story. Not really. You can meander with the characters and spend time.
At least not with that character.
Well, at least not with that character.
Yeah.
So right, exactly. So what I would suggest, and what I've seen happen in stories where they have characters like this and it turns out really well, is they will attach that character to another character that very much has a clear motivation and goal.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little bit nonsensical sometimes.
And it's about their character discovering their motivation or goal.
And the idea that basically there can still be a story even if the main character doesn't necessarily have it, right? Like Guts from Berserk is a great example.
Totally.
And they can discover it over time, but the idea is that the audience does not have to be in limbo while the character waits to discover it.
Yeah.
Right? There's still stuff happening.
Yeah, here's an example from live action recently. Mad Max Fury Road. Max is a character that's brought into the story with no clear motivation or goal other than get out, you know? Other than that, he's got no real motivation goal. He's probably actually one of the most cookie cutter characters in the entire story, the main character. But then Furiosa comes in and puts some motivation. It's like, hey, you got to help us. This is what's right. Do it because you're a man, and
at the very least, you're going to die
doing
if
what's
you don't
right.
Keep doing this thing immediately right now, and then we can talk about motivations, you know, later once we have a breather.
And it's a very simple story, but it gets the point across that your main character can be reactionary for a time. And if this is the main character that you're talking about, then I would say this is a great template to use, is just choose a point where you want the story to happen upon them. And they are basically thrust into a choice of how are they going to respond to this, and make them be a reactionary character that transitions into a proactive character.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think reactionary characters are necessarily bad. I just think that they're generally worse than proactive characters.
Well,
I mean, as long as they eventually transition out of.
And that usually it's not so much that makes the character bad, but it means that the story will usually suffer because of it.
Yes, this is true.
So if you can have someone else to go along with them that is not reactionary, that can be the anchor for the story,
Totally.
Then you can still have it work. Where that usually ends up going badly is when the connection isn't what it could be. So in the case of, say, superhero movies, one of the big problems usually is that the heroes are just reacting to the villain, but the villain isn't compelling, so you have no anchor, right?
Right. And that's why, like, The Dark Knight was so good.
Exactly.
Because in a lot of ways, we were carried into the story. We were swept up in it by the incredible, compelling nature of the Joker.
Yep.
And he was extremely proactive to the point where it was almost plot breaking, but it was still amazing because then the main character was more pondering the humanity aspect of how to react. Exactly. So it wasn't just him reacting. It was like, okay, but what's the best
all that mattered?
Right. It was like, how can I internally reconcile with what would be the best way to react versus what will be maybe the
right way to
react.
Yeah.
So
it's excellent.
There's plenty of ways to do it, and I would say definitely go and investigate whether or not you want this character to be a main character. Will you participate in NaNoWriMo or something like that? It begins this week.
So, not this one, because I already have a story and I need to get that all done and everything. But the first draft for this story was done during an extended NaNoWriMo. I started in October and then went through November to just make sure I got it finished.
Gotcha.
NaNoWriMo, it's good stuff.
Totally good stuff.
Do it. Just turn off that internal editor, because otherwise you're screwed.
Yeah, just write words. Jacob, have you caught up to chapter 110, the Attack on Titan manga?
I have not. I'm a bit behind on the Attack on Titan manga.
Okay. Also, Caleb, I was the one on Twitter who entertained you with the joke and riddle on Twitter. All right, cool. Thanks, Eric Walt. Appreciate that. That was very very nice of you to do.
Okay, from his Yaz, I want to ask if you guys know a good way to make a character unlikable at first but likable over time. There's a movie. This is homework. There's a movie that you need to watch called The Silent Voice.
A Silent Voice.
A Silent Voice, yeah. Yes. It might be a little tough to find because release in America, I don't know where you are, but, but that movie is basically, in my mind, the definition of how to do that.
Of what you're,
incredibly
of what
well.
You're looking for, yeah. It's probably near perfect. There might be some issues if the whole aspect of a bully getting a kind of a deeper look into kind of the trauma surrounding bullying on both sides of things. I just know some people that have gone through bullying that had a little bit of trouble
watching that movie.
Watching the beginning, not the whole movie.
Yeah, because
it's just usually the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, because that hits hard.
But it hits really hard in the feels.
But that's why I would say it's such a good example, because one of the big issue with making a character not likable at the beginning is how do you avoid pissing off the audience so much that they absolutely hate this character,
no matter what comes afterwards.
What comes after.
Yep.
And like on Rotten Tomatoes, the one of the top critics that reviewed the movie, the one person that gave a rotten review was basically said, the main character is horrible, and they
wrote him off.
They wrote them off. Yeah.
Yep.
And that
is disappointing.
It's disappointing, but that's a very real thing that you have to think about. And the fact that only one person was able to do that
out of like 40 or something.
Well, and given how intense the first 15, 20 minutes of that movie is, that is why it is such an insanely good example, because
execution was near flawless.
Yeah, because you hate the main character. Hate him. Hate his guts. And yet they managed to flip it all around.
Yep.
And it's incredible.
Oh, it's a movie. Yeah, again, if you haven't watched A Silent Voice, it's probably just because you either haven't heard of it yet, or it's hard to get access to watch it.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it. Just make sure you do it.
It's out in the
legally.
UK, so there's that. But
yeah, you just might have to jump through some hoops and stuff in order to make sure it works.
Yep.
Ever read the book The Club Dumas or Dumas, like Alexander Dumas? Just maybe. Check it. Bless RNG. Okay. We'll check out The Club Dumas.
All right.
Appreciate the recommendation. You guys decided on that Let's Try Out series you talked about last time? Okay, so let's talk about that really quick.
Yeah.
So the idea was, and we can posit this to you guys again, get some more feedback, because we haven't decided anything on this. Guys,
Yeah.
this is one thing to clarify here. We talked about it. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do it. But I know how sometimes,
Once you say something on the internet as just even a thing that you're thinking about, suddenly it's like, oh, no,
it's happening.
This is official, right?
Yeah, so our thought is there are shows that come out that are seasonal that we'd like to just check out. And we don't know necessarily if it's going to make it onto a poll.
Exactly.
So we're like, well, let's give it potentially a 1 episode or 3 episode shot, and we'll just react to it. The thing about this that's cool is that we could react to it and not upload it and just have it saved for when it actually needs. If we're like, well, we actually now are going to react to it.
Yeah.
The thing about that still is that, who knows how long we'd be waiting. So this was typically not something we had on the table as being an idea to do. But there was a show that came out recently that garnered a lot of attention, and we weren't necessarily sure whether we would like it or not.
Right.
And that is Goblin Slayer.
Yep.
And we love the idea of a potential fantasy
armor,
maybe more dark and intense and stuff.
Not as much based around just magic destroying everything or whatever.
Or isekai crap or whatever.
Sure.
I mean, not necessarily that all isekai are garbage, but just saying that.
Well, and watch,
there's
Goblin
always
Slayer actually is an isekai. Somehow.
Who knows? Yeah. But the point is that we were thinking about what if we had basically a slot that was always open. And what it would be is just the trial slot.
Right.
And then if we liked the show enough, then we would integrate that slot to be a permanent slot until the show is finished with whatever its current amount is. And then we would be done. Yep. But the thing is that we would reserve the right, as kind of an agreement made with y'all, that, hey, maybe you guys liked the reaction or something, but we didn't like the show.
Right.
So we could quit at in the trial period. It's something that I'm not really that fond of the idea to do just in general, but it's something where I think we could entertain the thought, especially when we're in a period where Attack on Titan just went on hiatus, My Hero Academia just went on hiatus. Specifically a lot of shows that we were just like, oh, we have to watch that immediately. These are sequel series. This is something we're following and really passionate about, so we have to do it immediately. This is kind of a good lull period for potentially something like that. Yeah. And, at the very least, we'd love to hear whether or not you guys are more or less for this, against this. If we did a show and quit it, how upset would you think the general populace would be? That kind of thing.
Oh, by the way,
because it does contradict a little bit of our core value of consistency.
Right.
We are all about consistency.
But on A Silent Voice, so the movie is amazing. There is also the manga. Someone pointed that out. If you can't find the movie, the manga is on Amazon. It's only 7 volumes. Prime available a lot of the time. So that is another great way to check it out. It's good stuff.
So that's in global markets, though?
I believe so.
Because I don't know how the distribution stuff works.
Oh, okay, because translation... Well, okay. That is a fair point. The translation might only be into English. I don't know if it's actually, for other languages, too.
Yeah.
But
so, Google it and find out, but there's a potential way to go about it there. Now, people are saying they generally like the idea. It's a good rule of thumb for a 3-episode shot.
Yeah.
And you should give The Promised Neverland a try when it comes out.
Okay.
I think The Promised Neverland is already on our list of things that we're going to check out pretty quickly when it comes out. Goblin Slayer is more D&D than edgy. One more reason the SOS Bros should give it a chance.
That's one of the things that I got the feeling they were sort of doing is the whole idea of the first level adventurers that basically just have to fight goblins and stuff, and it's oh crap,
I like the idea of a group of adventurers, but since it garnered a lot of like popularity and controversy or something. So I'm really worried if this is kind of a flash in the pan kind of show, because it might not have any actual substance to it.
I don't know.
I feel like this is something that I'm trying to remember who was talking about this. I think it was someone in our VIP call recently, or someone in a previous podcast or something. They were basically saying that, I think it was actually the previous podcast, they were saying that it has the same kind of initial hype building of something like Attack on Titan. Mm-hmm. The thing is that Attack on Titan eventually proved that it had the substance, the ability to like
follow through on it. Yeah,
and we're just still so early in Goblin Slayer, we don't know whether or not it
it is following and again, through on that. That's both just why we entertain this idea of doing the trial period, and then also why we haven't done it is because
we like to let the shows end, and I think that this is something that
doesn't help the view counter, but
no, it's something that I think it's good for people to understand about us, is that we have a slightly busy schedule, but I'm trying to say this while being very respectful, because there are a lot of other reaction channels out there that do a great job and stuff with what they do. But I have noticed a little bit of a trend with reaction channels when something gets crazy popular, and they'll just jump on something for kind of the views, and that's okay.
And that's but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's I mean, like, how else do you find out about shows, right? If if a bunch of people are talking about it, then it's like, okay, well, let's see what all the fuss is about,
right? And I think for us, we have more of a tight system with garnering kind of a list based on a hodgepodge of like group recommendations and all kinds of other stuff. So
and also there are so many shows that I really want to watch where like I already kind of know I'm gonna love it. Yeah. That the idea of watching something else that's more of a risk, doesn't and doing sense. It as a reaction, like that's the kind of thing that I would want to just like do in my own time, or something like that, where it's like, okay, I think I'll like this show, but I don't think Caleb will like this show, or something like that.
Right.
But yeah.
So we've talked about that. I think that's good. People in general being pretty awesome in chat, kind of giving us good feedbacks and stuff. If you make a specific slot for trial with the stated rules, it would open up more content that we otherwise wouldn't get, even if it's abandoned later. Great point.
Yeah.
Where are you in Hunter x Hunter? I'm dying. Should we tease them, Jacob?
We should tease them with silence.
Yeah. I'm not answering that question about where we're at in Hunter x Hunter. Just enjoy the silence.
The Gantz anime movie on Netflix. I checked it out. I like the CG had some definitely good elements, but I didn't really like the idea of the story. It just didn't grab my attention.
Definitely. Pyro Phoenix, would you ever consider watching Avatar The Last Airbender live action when it comes out, if it happened to have good reviews? Also, shout out from the Hunter Association. Definitely. Like guys, we will be day one. No. Like I will be like just all over that. Like, I am already, like, just consuming every bit of news I can about the whole project. Say what you will, I have thrown away all pessimism and reality and all doubt and everything out the window. We are getting an Avatar The Last Airbender, Mike and Brian Konietzko live-action reboot. I don't even care what the potential problems are or anything. I am hyped to the core for this show. Like, you don't understand, because when I say that Avatar: Last Airbender is my favorite show of all time, I mean it.
Yeah.
But when I hear the idea that they're doing it live action with the original people, like the actual original people behind it, and they're talking about expanding it slightly, that means new content.
Yeah.
New content.
Because here's the thing. You can think about it as like the no. Airbender is a holy relic that should not be like messed with or anything. It's perfect just the way it is. And I would say yes.
Well, yeah, but they can't hurt it.
Right, but they can't hurt it. That's
even the Shamalama Ding Dong video.
Exactly. Right.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the guy. I know he did his best. But that movie was garbage.
That movie was garbage.
And it didn't hurt the show at all. If anything, it actually brought in new fans.
Yeah, because it was something. they could all get a good laugh together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Horrible. Awful. You
Yeah.
said it. But the effects were decent.
exactly. Yeah. Let's keep flying. So with this new show, there's only potential for upside. Will it be as good as Airbender? Probably not.
No.
But who cares, right? We are going to get like we can go on a whole new like gold mining thing, right? Because we don't have to like search for nuggets with new shows, right?
Yeah.
It's searching for nuggets within an existing franchise,
Right.
with new content that's being given to us. So
In a way,
Yeah.
I'm that Star Wars fan too.
oh, same here.
And it's kind of drawn me a lot of flack, especially over the last like year and a half or so.
With the new movies.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm the Star Wars fan that just goes bananas for more content. Like
Yeah.
It's a bit crazy because I know I'm self-aware, at least with Star Wars now, because those Star Wars movies recently have not been as good, specifically Solo and The Last Jedi. But still,
Force Awakens was great.
I think Force Awakens was great. I still think that in some ways, The Last Jedi's problems are completely blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
It's a viewer psychology thing for the most part. Anyways,
But
I don't
yeah.
want to get into that whole
We don't talk
that
politics
whole
here.
mess. Yeah, we don't talk politics on this channel. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, with Avatar: Last Airbender, my fanboyism is completely blind. Like I do not even try to make reservations for that part there because I can't really have it be hurt. Nothing they could do, like they're adding constantly new little mini comics right now for like Legend of Korra and stuff. I get my hands on every single one of those that I can. I read them all. I read everything. So it's something of it's a special like childhood thing for me that it can't really be tampered
Right.
or ruined in any way.
Yep.
Oh, YX Casual just sent us 100 bits.
Thank you.
Vinland Saga and Promised Neverland are shows that are scheduled to come out next year that have amazing manga and both have large followings. We have heard about Vinland Saga.
Yes.
Quite a lot. So
Promised Neverland also, but,
I
you
did
know.
not know that Vinland Saga and Promised Neverland had both large audiences. I thought Vinland Saga was the one with the large audience, and Promised Neverland was more new.
Yeah, more of like the sleeper hit kind of a thing. That
Right, right.
Oh, okay, it's
Like-
actually pretty good. Yeah.
Like, if anything, when I hear Promised Neverland, that actually sounds like Made in Abyss to me.
it does.
It sounds like the idea of basically we're going to the Promised Neverland,
Right.
you know?
We are going to a place of mystery.
That you probably shouldn't go because it's Neverland, you know?
Well, yeah, that too, and just the fact that if there is a story, there will be conflict either on the way there or once we get there.
Because just because you're promised something doesn't mean you're gonna get it.
And that doesn't mean, be careful what you wish for.
Because you might actually get it.
Because you might actually get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch, we'll like psychoanalyze the title to the point where we actually like are spoiled on the show, and we don't even like have any surprises left in
Right.
store.
Exactly. Yeah.
I did that once for what was it? It was a TV show. I don't remember what it was. It had a really long title, and it was live action, I think, because
Wait, so it wasn't a light novel adaptation?
yeah, it wasn't a light novel. Like
It wasn't that in another world with a smartphone. Like,
Yeah.
like it didn't completely like you actually had to like analyze the title to figure out what was going on.
yeah, I'm probably mixing memories in my head and stuff, but still, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, why did I not know that before? People, you guys didn't know about the Avatar: Last Airbender live action? What? What?
At least that's probably what it's. Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
Yeah, how did you guys not know that? I mean, I guess not everyone
But
is up on those news.
The more you
things and
know,
stuff.
now you do.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Since this podcast is about character development, what do you think of Merom's development and the Royal Guards as well? Watch our Hunter x Hunter stuff for that. We
Generally,
love it.
it's something like this.
Yeah. But we're not going to be talking specifically about that character's development today. We're going to be talking about a
Right.
character from another show that I feel like doesn't get as much attention on our videos because generally it's from a show that's not as...
It's more ongoing and long and hype and things like that. And this show is none of those things.
Yes,
but
okay.
it is incredible.
Okay, you were comparing Hunter x Hunter to this show. Gotcha.
Right.
I was like, oh, this show's really short. What,
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
Are you talking about? Oh, Galaxy49, thank you so much for the follow.
Yes, thank you.
So let's go into character development then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So there's this little show
Yes.
Really, really gorgeous
Uh-huh.
little show that's on Netflix
Called Coconut Pico.
It's called Violet Evergarden.
And it's amazing. Yeah.
And Violet Evergarden is a show that recently we watched some episodes that were so heartbreaking, like so deeply emotionally charged.
Shot through the heart.
No joke.
Uh-huh.
It probably changed my life. A
Like,
specific episode in particular.
Like, it's because, it's one of those things where it's like,
yeah.
there's shows where you watch them, and it's
Yep.
amazing, right? And then you get to the end, and you're like, wow, that was so good. And and you'll think about the episodes that you watched, and you'll be like, oh, man, yeah, they were great and all that stuff. But over time, you'll kind of forget, right? And then you'll have to go back through and you'll be like, oh yeah, read the episode descriptions again. Oh yeah, that's right. You know, in this episode with all that stuff happening, it'll bring back the memories.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this one is forever burned into my brain.
Yep.
And people who have seen Violet Evergarden, you know which one we're talking about.
You know which episode we're
Like,
talking about. There's a very specific episode that involves... it involves letters because, you know, that's Violet Evergarden for you.
Right.
But what happens in this episode, because of the POV, the character POV, you know...
Amazing choice to do that.
They end up telling us a lot about Violet's character development. And
They
it's
do.
something that was really small and simple, but given just in conjunction how many stories Violet has been involved with, where she's learning more and more about what love is, and about how love is so different, and it can be expressed in completely different ways.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of it in this particular episode where Violet afterwards goes and basically
Tries to process.
Yeah. And just kind of breaks down because she was trying to be as she usually is and hold it all in together to be strong. But one of the things about love that I absolutely love about this episode was the vulnerability that Violet was able to then show to all these people that have, you know, not really with much screen time, but have grown closer to her. And it's something that something that I love about love about this show about love.
Right.
Where one part about love is letting other people love you. And Violet's character development, I think, for the most part, is not necessarily about learning what love is, because she's going to constantly be on that journey. And I love that that's kind of the point of the show, is there's no end to it. She's constantly going to be learning what love is and learn more and more about it. But specifically with regards to love, either connected, you know, going from her or to her, you need to open yourself up to be hurt just enough to basically, you need to be vulnerable enough so that you could potentially be hurt to be able to receive love. And it's something that Violet just couldn't handle in this one beautiful moment of storytelling, and she just collapses in tears, and it's just, and everyone just comes around her.
If this is... if you haven't already basically decided, okay, I need to watch this show, and you haven't seen it yet, this episode, when I think about it, and the way it made me feel, there is only one other story that comes to mind.
Whoa.
And that is...
Wolf Children? Yep, I knew it was Wolf Children. Yep.
Called
Wolf Children. Yep. Oh.
And if you've seen that movie, and you know how much I love that movie, how much that movie made me cry and blubber like a baby, then you should watch Violet Evergarden. If nothing else, just for this episode. But the other episodes are great too. right?
Yeah, visuals and all that other good stuff, but there are specific episodes in Violet Evergarden that are worth the entire watch through. Like, and this one is the greatest one of them all so far.
Yeah.
And
I would say with some not so small amount of confidence that
probably will be.
This will probably be the best episode of the show.
Yeah.
Because it's just that good. I don't see how they could make something better. And yeah, like
So yeah, if you know the heartbreaking emotion that can go through you when you experience Wolf Children in its entirety.
Right.
Imagine in some ways a lot of the similar emotions in that condensed into 22 minutes of perfect storytelling.
And like it's not the same thing, you know. It's
not.
something different,
but it's similar.
But oh boy, like if you like
boy.
Wolf Children, which like how can anyone not?
Yeah, you're in for a treat.
Like,
in some ways, Jacob and I were talking afterwards, and this is constantly a topic of ours about how to approach the mainstream people that don't watch anime with anime. And we were like, oh, this episode is how you would just instantly convert someone probably into anime fans.
But at the same time, it's kind of the thing that you would never ever want to do.
Yes,
because
you want them to watch to this point in the show because there's so much character development in Violet that it means so much more.
This episode out of context of the rest of the show and what it means for Violet and all that stuff, even though it hardly focuses on Violet,
surprisingly, that
would be an absolute tragedy to have someone experience this episode and not be able to get the full, complete experience that we were able to have from it. And like,
oh my gosh.
It makes me just think back to like the beginning of like Toradora, you know, with the in this world there's this thing, you know, that no one's ever seen. You know? This thing is very kind and gentle, and if anyone could actually see it, you know, there'd be a whole lot of people wanting to have it and all that stuff. And like, you know, it's just like, oh man,
this is what love is.
This is what love is. This is what you can do when you have a very specific theme and focus, you know, for your story, even if you do an episodic format, right?
Totally.
That was one of the things that blew our mind so much. The characters in this episode are characters you've never seen before.
Nope.
You only have 22 minutes with them.
Yep.
And wow.
And this is something that I feel like I was one of the people that like I can never completely hold back my my episodic type lens. Like I have a little bit of a problem with episodic type stories.
Sure.
I don't necessarily get as much value out of it as he does. And I feel like that's because I need to really be sold on the attachment to the characters quickly. Because oftentimes what will happen in episodic stories, they'll trust that what they set up in the first 5 minutes is usually good enough to invest you into the characters.
Right.
If they don't hit that with you, it's very hard to get involved in the drama that comes in the latter parts of the story.
Exactly, because usually what will happen is that they will then deviate from that 5 minutes that they gave to set up the characters, and usually it won't even be that much, especially if it's a 22-minute episode. Like that's what you'll usually get if it's like a 45-minute episode.
Yeah.
And then they'll move into the plot, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you don't necessarily care about the plot if you don't care about the characters. The characters are the story. And in this case, they made it so that the entire plot was all about the characters and their emotions and everything. And
Salo says, didn't watch the reactions. I think the most sad I've seen you two was in the MIA reactions.
That was a different kind of sad. Because see, there's just pure suffering.
Right.
And then there's this is beautiful and I am crying.
Stop.
And I just want to go curl up into a corner in my room and just cry and listen to like sappy music and you know and stuff because this is so beautiful.
This is probably one of the biggest cries I've ever had on camera. Ever.
We were shook after that episode.
I was
we actually like before we went into the discussion, we actually had to take a moment to basically just breathe,
like a 10-minute break or something.
Because it moved me, Bob.
It moved me. Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
See, Grave of Fireflies is suffering. See,
Yeah, Grave of Fireflies is suffering. That's kind of the Maiden Abyss type.
It's just like, I'm just
pain.
gonna like beat you to death with this emotional baseball bat. Whereas like where you can cry and have it also be like the happy tears, you know, the happy and sad at the same time. Like, it's just yeah. Oh.
Yeah. It was a nice podcast for my first time being here live. I gotta go though, so everyone be safe. Oh, glad to have you here, Thick Slayer 2201. Oh, you should watch the Your Lie in April reactions if you want to see them sad. Well, the thing about Your Lie in April...
That's another great one.
The thing about Your Lie in April is that it's also very focused in specific kind of episodes.
Yes.
I would say because Violet Evergarden is shorter, and because I would say most of the emotional episodes happen after they've introduced you to the world and stuff, there's this nice little pocket of just really emotional, like, gooey goodness.
Yes.
Because it's so good.
Your Lie in April does the knife twist, right? It's not that they'll have like they'll have episodes that are individual episodes that are really sad, right? But it's that they'll basically know how to draw out the emotions over the course of the entire show, right?
Yep.
So that even though the emotions generally revolve around more or less the same 2 or 3 things, you'll still feel them with every episode.
I think this isn't about perfectionism anymore. This is about feels.
The perfectionism thing that I was going to bring up is this idea that I know for me especially, and this was kind of tied to the whole idea of the writers group that I went to and how the old grandma ladies there were inspired and all that stuff, is that I get perfectionism paralysis a lot of the time, right? Where I'll be like, I need to make this thing be perfect, right? And the idea is that, you know...
You need to just kind of be aware that you're not going to make it perfect.
And you know,
no one's that good.
You are not perfect, so the things that you create will not be perfect. But, you know, it's the idea that it doesn't need to be perfect from some objective standpoint, especially in the arts, because that doesn't exist, right? And if it does, then you failed. But the idea that it's, you know, it can be perfect to someone, right?
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, we think of it as a perfect show. Even though we know it isn't, but it's the perfect show for us when we watched it, the lessons it taught us and everything. Yeah. And like, even
we don't need to go into the whole perfectionism thing. I was just saying I'm going to change the title because we're talking so much about feels and stuff.
Yeah. But that's just something that I wanted to put out there because I feel like that's... I know there are other people like me out there too, and that other people that are doing like pro type things, you know, they aren't doing things perfect either. So don't let that be like a thing to hold you back and say to not try those things and push your boundaries.
It's ultimately an excuse we tell ourselves because we're scared of actually doing the thing.
Yeah.
That's generally what that is. We had a little announcement for you guys. If any of y'all are from the Discord events factions, some cool things happened in there. If anyone is in there, shout out your faction. By the way, I know we have one question that came in from the Hunter Association. But yeah, if you're in here and you're from a faction and stuff, you know, be sure to ask your question before the podcast is over.
Yes.
But they in there unlocked the first milestone for the events and stuff rewards, and the first one that I had in there was a 2 Truths and a Lie stream that we're going to be doing as the podcast for next Monday. So what this is Jacob and I are going to play a game with you guys, basically.
Would you like to play a game?
It might not go for the entire podcast, and we might do some discussion and stuff afterwards. But the gist of it is Jacob and I are going to come in with 2 truths and a lie, and we're going to read them out for you guys. And y'all need to guess, basically, which one of the 3 things that we'll bring up, each in sequences of 3, are the lies.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can do it as 2 lies and a truth, 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah, I think 2 truths and a lie is generally the best format.
Generally the best format, because then you learn more about the person in general rather than learning less.
Right.
But
so
make sure to show up next week, especially because we're gonna have that be a fun little game, and we'll definitely ham it up. And then it'll be a cool way for you guys to learn some wacky, fun facts about the 2 of us.
Yeah. So, actually, that's a good point. Well, wait, no. I was going to say...
I love the whole mental gymnastics you just did, because I kind of saw where you were jumping to. I'm like, nope, yeah.
Because I was going to say, you guys should tell us the kind of things you want to know about us. That way, but then that kind of defeats the purpose, because then you guys know that it's... That one's true. Yeah. So,
and we know everything about each other for the most part.
right.
But,
I mean, we could
not
find out
everything.
Who knows? But
Right.
yeah.
But that'll be pretty fun. So be sure to get in here for that. Psycho Pass is the perfect show for me. First season of it, of course. Very cool,
it's
Lunar.
fantastic.
I keep saying Starcrust Crusaders.
Starcrust Crusaders.
Starcrust Crusaders. But the worst I've cried is actually in Hunter x Hunter because of how beautiful and bittersweet it was. My mom asked me what the heck happened when she saw me as a mess. That reminds me of me after the Red Wedding. I just kind of stumbled out of my room, and my family was just like, what happened to you? I'm just like, everything is wrong. And yours was even like worse. Like you wanted to like
For what? The Red Wedding?
the Red Wedding, yeah.
Oh, no. See,
Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. Oh, no. I remember it was the Code Geass moment.
Another red event. Yeah. That was.
We still have arguments about that. Like,
Well,
it messed you
yeah,
up.
but it wasn't really. I mean, the arguments we usually have about Code Geass aren't about that. They're about a
Right.
certain Table Kun and Nina and pacing in the second season. But not that we argue about that. It's more like we both just
Rip Table Kun. Oh man,
you did not deserve. No one deserves
no one
that.
deserved that.
Yeah.
No. Oh boy. Oh, Class 1A. Any hopes for Hajime no Ippo if it wins the poll in the end? Of course.
It's totally not going to win the poll.
Hopes is that we see it as a worthy successor for Haikyuu, and we are able to move on from Haikyuu. That's a very sad thing to say, but in that we are ready to invest into another big show like this, especially since Hunter x Hunter is kind of coming towards the end of it here. Jacob is not fully ready.
I am ready to start the grieving process with another show to help me through it.
Right, and hopefully Hajime no Ippo will be that for you.
Will be that. Yeah, it'll be able to be that shoulder for me to cry on. But
Awesome, Learner. Thanks for the
yes.
question for your Class 1A faction. What's your favorite character in Hunter x Hunter currently? Shout out to Band of the Hawk faction. Band of the Hawk. Yeah, Killua is really good.
Meruem is really good too.
The thing is, Meruem
is really good.
and the thing is, Kamugi is not really in the story right now.
Right.
But the thing is that Meruem has been doing some really cool things with his character.
Yeah.
And I also really like what they've been doing with a lot of the Royal Guard. I really, really love, in almost a sick way, I really love Shia LaBeouf, aka we're now calling him Poof now, because he's poofed.
Yeah.
Like he's full on poofed. He's no longer he's playing a dangerous game. That Poof. I can't pick a favorite character anymore because I feel like every time they give me a favorite character, they're like, oh, now we're going to focus on this character and give them tons of stuff. I'm like, oh, but now they're really good. And then they're like, oh, now we're going to focus on this character. Now we're going to focus on this. I'm just like, they're all so good.
Yeah.
I feel like the main thing, though, is that throughout the story overall, my favorite character has been the relationship between Gon and Killua. That's always going to be my favorite character.
Yeah.
It almost is a character. It's like a plot device more than a character. But
because that is the dual main character, and that's why that
Hunter
whole concept as a story tool is so powerful, right?
And I know that it's a hunter hunting a hunter.
Right. Gon hunting Jing.
But
But
still, I like to interpret as Gon and Killua just
It's the story of their ship. No.
Yeah. I was like, instinctively agreeing with you. I was like, wait, I disown you. Oh man,
yeah.
We just make a Twitch faction of non-Discorders and beat all the Discord factions. Yes, if you are a subscriber, if you are currently a subscriber...
That's a good point.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. If you are a subscriber to us on Twitch, you have access to our Discord. But it is important, especially now as we come to the end of the month, I'm going to post a thing for everyone in the Discord. But it is important that you, when you go in and you make your Discord account, that you sync your Twitch account with your Discord so you get the Twitch subscriber role. You don't automatically get it just because you join through the subscriber room here on Twitch. will you guys be reacting to Westworld at any point? We have constantly thought about Westworld and stuff, but it's just finding the right time to do it. So not right now, but eventually.
The Monogatari series is on our radar.
Totally
I am
on our
very
radar.
interested in it, and I believe
I am too. It's just that it's long.
It's long, and because of what we've heard about it, of how it does like dialogue and like fast flicker subtitles and things like that. It's a tough thing to react to that. Yeah, exactly. Like, we will miss so many things if/when we react to the Monogatari series.
Peps2 asks, favorite stand so far representing the Stardust Crusaders?
Okay.
It's purple. No, I'm just kidding.
Not my favorite stand, but my favorite stand user
and combination
is, just don't even care about the combination, but favorite stand user is totally
Whole Horse?
Darby.
Oh, Darby. Yes, definitely for the user.
Yeah, because the thing is, his stand plays very little of a part in everything that he does.
Yeah, Darby's amazing.
But Darby, or Barbie, is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I really loved the whole Oingo Boingo episode, though. That was probably one of my favorite Part 3 episodes.
It was so good.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it's not really the stand, it's the brothers. It's the idea of the dual kind of...
The dual character.
The dual dubious kind of antagonists that are pseudo Scooby-Doo villains, pseudo JoJo, murdering,
it's the misadventures villains. Of it all. Like, it's the idea that they're trying so hard, yet they're failing so epically, and the Joe Bros don't even know that they exist.
They don't.
Like,
It's so funny.
It kind of feels like why I love miscommunication humor, because it's basically, because that's kind of what it is. It's just that the communication never even starts because they don't know they exist. It's the thing where the two parties are on such different wavelengths, right? That there's something happening over here, and over here there's something completely different happening, and the dissonance of that, the juxtaposition of those two things just does my heart good. So much good.
It's great. Yep. Yeah. But Kayla, Godix Killer is so cute. Shia LaBeouf. Haha, funny. How about Akatsuki no Yona or Arslan Senki? Where they are for your radar? Well, actually, our VIP call had those very prominently shilled, so they are on our radar now. Mm-hmm. So thank you for echoing their sentiment with that.
Yeah.
Darby, D-A-R-B-Y, with an apostrophe after the D. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Hashtag Band of the Hawk. Do you guys feel the humor was well handled in FMAB?
Especially in the outtakes.
I'd say actually the humor is one of the
weaker
only problems I have with Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I feel like it suffers a bit from the what is the phrase? Marvel does it. It's the thing where we constantly ruin the dramatic tension with humor.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I would actually say that was one of the things that I didn't like about Your Lie in April too. But
Your Lie in April also had that problem.
because they had such good dramatic tension and then it'd be cut with this humor. So yes.
Every once in a while, Your Lie in April would kill it though with that style of thing.
They would.
It's just like 50% of the time it was.
I feel like with Fullmetal Alchemist, the big issue that it has is that while the show and the characters and all that stuff as a whole, I would say ages very well. The humor is one of those areas where it doesn't much.
Yep. I think it's mainly because it's trying too hard to be a shonen. And that seems like an editing choice.
That feels like a very weird statement to hear, but yeah.
No, I'm serious. Just with the humor. Just with the humor.
Yeah,
it's the Winry throwing the wrench. It's the dramatic teeth, eyes, faces. Yeah. It's the senselessly reactionary anger from Ed over people calling him short and stuff. It's the
with the Winry thing of throwing the wrench. Yeah, it's like the fact that she does that whole tsundere trope style thing. It's like that can work, but just some of the times that they did it, it's like okay.
Wait, what? What?
Wait, I just saw Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, it's saying thank you that we have those on our radar. So I'll keep harassing you with Pride and Prejudice long letters then. Oh, May Phoenix, you're the one that sent us the really long letters again. Yes, please send us long letters again. Well, yeah, I really appreciate those as well. You just don't need to recommend shows in the letters like you did. And I know you understand that we're not upset at that or anything. But yeah, I totally appreciate the letters and stuff. Not a question, but thanks for the Discord events. Nice having a reason to continue drawing with an actual motive for Meat is God. Hey, GUI Engineer! I love that you revealed that your name is actually a pun. I think that's brilliant. And now do you get it, Jacob? GUI Engineer? Graphics User Interface Engineer?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man. I think we're actually going to wrap up the podcast right about now. I'll have just a final quick announcement here. We're going to be hearing back from Twitch very soon about our partner application.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, it was last Friday. I went and I streamed Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And you were not there for this.
Right, I was at D&D.
But I was gifting subs and dusting legendaries anytime I lost in Arena. And it was really fun. It was really fun. So anytime...
Wait, how many... Wait, so
I dusted, I think, 3 legendaries and I gifted like 6 subs. Or like 5 subs or something.
That doesn't match up. So...
Well, it was in groups of 3.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it would have been 9 things were done in total.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because, 3 runs or something. I think it was 3 runs.
3 runs? Wow, how many, what was your, what were your wins?
I think average was around 6 wins. I know. Jacob has seen me when I'm on my game, and I'm like, 9 win average, you know?
Well, or just, the times that you get the 12 wins,
I'll be like, 12 wins, and he's like, oh, cool. And I'm like, 11 wins, and he's like, wait, what?
You
12
missed
wins.
One. Yeah.
But I would love to do more of that. So, guys, thank you so much for, getting in here and chatting with us and asking us questions and things. What we're gonna do is continue with this schedule for the time being. We're getting more and more kind of in the groove of Twitch and stuff,
right.
But also specifically since we've now gotten through the prerequisites for partner. If we don't get it this time, we'll have to do it again and stuff. But if we do, we'll be able to think about, okay, now how can we get a Twitch schedule that lines up properly with the YouTube schedule, and then we'll make moves to having more frequent streaming opportunities.
Exactly.
So make sure that you check out the stream coming in tomorrow, which will be Berserk, next volume.
Yep.
Volume 5, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, of course, and the Friday Night Gaming with Caleb, that is now a thing. That's a thing. It worked out really well last time. 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Friday nights. And I can do those for a long time now. There's not really any limitations on how much time I actually do that.
Which is pretty cool.
For the most part, yeah.
And Artisanal, have I ever thought about streaming a D&D campaign?
You don't
is
even
basically
know. It's
like
such
one
a big
of the things
thing for
that
him.
I absolutely want to do, because I am a total critter, and doing something similar to that.
How would you like to do this?
Yeah. How do you want to do this?
How do you want to do this?
Yeah. That is the real question. But,
Berserk, more Berserk.
Yeah, Berserk's good, and this will be the last one that I have read. So after this one, then I won't have read it, and then we'll both be freaking out at the same time and all that.
Oh, thanks, Eric Wallace. This is great podcast, guys. And Takasu, dusting legendaries. Wow. Yeah, so I was either dusting a legendary if I lost one game, not a run, just losing a game, and I would flip a coin for either gifting a sub to a random person or doing that. And I think I'm gonna stick with that, because
you should do one of each.
I don't have that many legendaries. Like, I don't want to dust things like, Godfrey and, like, Gul'dan and stuff. Like,
I don't play Hearthstone, so I don't even really
you don't even know
what those are. Yeah.
I don't want to dust my Warlock legendaries specifically, guys.
Gotcha.
So for those of you that are nice, whenever I ask what class I want to do, just don't pick Warlock. Like, crap, now they're all going to pick Warlock. Yeah, okay. The bro's surname is Sanity.
That's right. How did you find that out? That's personal information.
And my middle name is Of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
One of these days, that'll be a cool thing to kind of talk about. It's just kind of the pre-channel story, Kind of us talking more about that on a podcast.
Sure.
But yeah. Yeah, love to catch up with you guys more
Thanks
over
for
the
hanging out with
Discord.
us.
So if you are a subscriber, make sure to sync up your Discord accounts and get the invite in the sub room here, so that we can chat more with you guys and stuff, and then also get involved in the events and stuff in there, which is pretty cool. There's more stream like rewards that you can unlock besides this. One of them may or may not be a Doki Doki Literature Club playthrough.
That is true.
Double blind. We both know nothing about the game.
Yeah.
So
Other than it's pretty okie dokie. So
yeah, it's pretty okie dokie.
that seems to be the pun that everyone uses.
So go check that out. But,
and we'll do it in try and do it in an ASMR voice the entire time.
no, we will not. I'm definitely not going to do it in ASMR voice. But we will definitely do voices, especially if we can pull that off for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you all next time. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. Peace.